Close your eyes for a moment and imagine holding a stone. Not a pebble from your garden. Not a souvenir from a beach holiday. Something older. Something that has traveled further than any human being ever will. Across billions of miles of empty, frozen space. To end up against every conceivable odd in the palm of your hand. That stone exists. In fact, 5 of them do. Tonight, we are going to travel. Through science, through history, and through the farthest edges of the known universe. To meet 5 crystals that did not come from this world. Some of them are in museums. Some are in jewelry stores. Some were worn by pharaohs. One of them is made of atoms forged in the explosion of a dying star. Let's begin. 15 million years ago, a meteorite the size of a city block slammed into what is now southern Germany. The explosion was not survivable. Rock was vaporized. The ground liquefied. Molten material was hurled into the upper atmosphere at speeds that defy imagination. And then it rained down as glass. That glass is called Moldavite. It is forest green, translucent, and covered in the swirling surface textures of something that was once liquid, screaming through the sky at several kilometers per second. It cooled in flight. By the time it landed in Bohemia in what is now the Czech Republic, it had already become one of the most unusual substances on the surface of the Earth. Moldavite is not a crystal in the strict scientific sense. It is an amorphous glass, but its reputation in the world of healing stones is extraordinary. Collectors describe a physical sensation when they first hold it. Heat, tingling, a kind of internal pressure they call the Moldavite flush. Whether that is chemistry, psychology, or something else entirely, the demand for this stone has been so intense that the market is now flooded with fakes. Green bottle glass, carefully shaped, the real thing is becoming genuinely rare. And the real thing is, after all, a piece of a 15-million-year-old catastrophe. Molten rock that flew through the atmosphere and became something beautiful. There are worse origins for a gemstone. In 1922, Howard Carter opened the tomb of Tutankhamun. Among thousands of treasures packed around the young pharaoh, there was a single carved scarab, the sacred Egyptian symbol of rebirth, set in gold at the center of a royal necklace. The scarab was made of a pale, golden green stone that no one could identify for decades. In 1998, scientists finally confirmed the truth. That scarab was carved from Libyan Desert Glass, an extraterrestrial glass found scattered across hundreds of square kilometers of the Sahara, formed approximately 29 million years ago. When something from space, a meteorite impact, or an airburst explosion in the atmosphere produced a thermal flash so intense it melted the desert sand into glass. Think about what that means. An ancient Egyptian crossed the deep desert, found fragments of this golden glass, and recognized it as something sacred. They carried it back. They shaped it into the most powerful symbol in their religion, and they buried it with their king. They did not know it came from space. They did not have that language, but they knew it was not ordinary. They were right. Here is a question. What if a gemstone was not from a planet, but from the core of one? Pallasite meteorites are sliced cross-sections of asteroids that were large enough, billions of years ago, to develop a molten iron core surrounded by a rocky mantle, exactly like Earth. When those asteroids were shattered by collisions, their interiors were exposed, and at the boundary between the iron core and the rocky mantle, there were crystals, olivine crystals, transparent, glowing with a warm honey green that deepens toward gold in certain light. When a pallasite is sliced and polished, you are looking at a stained glass window made by the cosmos. Nickel iron metal forming a golden lattice, and within it, dozens of gem-quality peridot crystals, each one grown 4.5 billion years ago, in the interior of a world that no longer exists. The most celebrated source is the Esquel meteorite, found in Argentina. Gem cutters have successfully faceted individual olivine crystals from pallasites into finished stones. Those stones are, without exaggeration, the oldest gemstones on Earth. They predate the Earth itself by several 100 million years. And they are, in the best examples, genuinely beautiful. Warm, translucent, alive with the light of something ancient beyond any human record. In 1984, a physicist named Dan Sheckman looked into an electron microscope and saw something that the textbooks said was impossible. He saw a crystal with five-fold symmetry, a crystal whose atomic structure resembled a soccer ball, an icosahedron. Classical physics said this could not exist in nature. His colleagues told him he was wrong. One of them told him to go back and read a textbook. He was eventually pushed out of his research group. In 2011, he was awarded the Nobel Prize in Chemistry. For years, these so-called quasicrystals were only produced in laboratories. Then, in 2009, a tiny grain embedded in a meteorite specimen in a Florentine museum was identified as Icosahedrite, the first naturally occurring quasicrystal ever found. It had formed 4.5 billion years ago in the outer solar system, under conditions of extreme pressure and heat that simply do not occur on Earth. It is not beautiful in the way the other stones in this list are beautiful. You would walk past it in a museum display without noticing it. But it represents something profound, evidence that the universe quietly builds forms of matter, that our best physics declares categorically impossible, and has been doing so since before our planet existed. Every diamond you have ever seen formed deep inside the Earth, in the mantle, under pressure so intense it bends the rules of chemistry, carried to the surface by ancient volcanic eruptions. That is the diamond story, you know. The black diamond has a different story entirely. Carbonado, the technical name for black diamond, is found only in alluvial deposits in Brazil and parts of Central Africa. It never appears in the kimberlite pipes that produce conventional diamonds. Its atomic structure is different. Its inclusions are different. And some analyses suggest it is older than the Earth itself. The leading theory, supported by spectroscopic and isotopic analysis, is that Carbonado formed in a supernova explosion. When a massive star collapses and detonates, the temperatures reach billions of degrees. Under those conditions, carbon converts to diamond in the debris cloud. That cloud drifted through space for perhaps 1.5 billion years. Then a mass of it struck Earth approximately 2.3 billion years ago. The black diamond on a jeweler's shelf. The one that catches light differently, that seems to absorb it rather than reflect it. Maybe made of atoms forged in the death of a star, whose name we do not know, in a galaxy we cannot locate, before our sun had ignited. Wear that thought with 5 stones. 5 impossible journeys. A glass born in a 15 million year explosion. A pharaoh's scarab carved from cosmic fire. A gemstone older than the Earth, grown in the core of a dead planet. A crystal whose very existence rewrote the laws of physics. And a black diamond that may carry in its atomic structure the last light of a star that died before we were born. These are not metaphors. This is geology. This is physics. This is the actual history of actual objects that you can hold in your hands. We spend so much time looking up at the night sky, wondering what is out there. But some of what is out there has already arrived. It is sitting in museum cases and jewelry store windows. It is waiting, with a patience measured in billions of years, to be noticed. The universe, it turns out, has been sending us messages for a very long time. We just forgot to read them.